Hi, DrBiology here. This is the series related to the A-level biology 3.2.4, recognition, cell recognition and immunity, and this is lesson 7, HIV and AIDS. So here is the AQA spec, and for this lesson we're going to be going through looking at the structure of the human immunodeficiency virus and also how HIV causes the symptoms of AIDS. And also we'll be looking at why antibiotics are ineffective against viruses. So HIV, first of all, let's look at the structure. Well, HIV is a virus and it affects the immune system. And it does eventually lead to acquired immune deficiency syndrome, or AIDS. Now, you might get asked about the structure of HIV. You would have done about the structure of viruses in the cells section of work, but you'd need to know the basics. So first of all, the core contains the genetic material, which is usually RNA, and some proteins, including the enzyme reverse transcriptase, which is needed for virus replication. There's an outer coating or capsid, and then there's an extra outer layer called an envelope. This is made of a membrane stolen from the cell membrane of a previous host cell. Sticking out from the envelope are loads of attachment proteins that help the virus attach and enter the host cell. In this case, because it's HIV, the host cell will be a helper T cell. Okay, so next we need to know about how HIV replicates inside its host helper T cells. And it's important to state that pretty much most viruses, if not all viruses, would do this with their host cells. So again, in the cell section, we talked about the replication of viruses inside host cells, but you do need to know about HIV and how it actually occurs in a helper T cell. So firstly, the virus attaches to a receptor molecule of the host helper T cell, and the capsid enters the cell, releasing the RNA. Secondly, the reverse transcriptase, it then makes a complementary strand of DNA from the viral RNA template. This then means that the virus inserts this copy into the host cell's DNA, so host cell enzymes are used to make viral proteins. Then, lastly, the parts are assembled, they form a bud, which is then released to become a new HIV virus and infect other cells. So during the initial infection period, HIV replicates rapidly, and the infected person may experience severe flu-like symptoms. After this period, HIV replication drops to a lower level, and this is called a latency period. So during the latency period, which could last for many years, the infected person won't experience any symptoms. So, as already said, HIV attacks the immune system, and this does then lead to AIDS. So what's happening is the HIV kills the T helper cells, and the T helper cells are destroyed, then the B cells are not activated and they don't clone. So this leads to an immune system failure. So opportunistic infections that we can normally deal with can cause AIDS. So as I said, there's a latency period, and it depends, it varies from person to person, but initial symptoms include minor infections of mucous membranes. Serious infections then could develop, such as chronic diarrhea, bacterial infections, and TB. And then the later stages, you can develop conditions such as toxoplasmosis, fungal infection in lungs, and types of skin cancer. So it's these serious infections that kill AIDS patients. It's not HIV itself. The length of time that people survive with AIDS can vary quite a lot, and factors that affect progression of HIV to AIDS and survival time with AIDS includes whether you have existing infections, the strain of HIV, because HIV has some form of variability, antigenic variability, and the age and the access to healthcare. So currently there is no cure for HIV. There's no vaccine and no drugs that will cure you. However, you can use a variety of drugs to reduce the HIV taking over the immune system. These are called antiviral drugs, and they slow down the progression of HIV infection so the immune system can cope. So if we remember, viruses, they have reverse transcriptase enzymes. These are not found in other animals, such as humans, and therefore antiviral drugs can target this virus-specific enzyme. Key thing is prevention, so to reduce the spread. So if it can't be cured, you need to look at reducing its spread, because HIV is spread through unprotected sexual intercourse, infected bodily fluids such as blood from contaminated needles, and from HIV positive mothers to her fetus. Now, not all babies, though, from HIV positive mothers are born infected with HIV, and you can take antiviral drugs during pregnancy, which reduces the chance of the baby being HIV positive. And lastly, antibiotics. We need to talk a bit about antibiotics. Antibiotics, as you're probably aware, they are drugs that kill bacteria, but they don't work on viruses. The reason being is that antibiotics target enzymes and ribosomes of bacteria. They only target the bacterial ones, so they don't damage human cells. Now, the way that viruses replicate, viruses don't have their own enzymes, not ribosomes. They use the ones in the host cells. So antibiotics can't inhibit viruses as they don't target human processes. And that is the main reason why they don't work on viruses. So this brings us to the end of immunity, so the topic immunity and cell recognition. I'm planning to do more videos, topic videos, so please do subscribe. I hope you found it useful, and I will speak with you again soon.